Hey there, and welcome back to the 2013 season of Inside Butler Football. I'm your host, JoJo Gentry. The Butler football team fell short against Dartmouth last Saturday, losing 30-23. In just a few moments, we'll be joined by Butler head football coach Jeff Forrest to talk about last week's game and to take a look at the games ahead. Stay with us on Inside Butler Football. We welcome you back to Inside Butler Football. Today, I have head coach Jeff Forrest in the studio with us today. Thank you for being here.
Great to be here.
So first of all, let's get your overall opinion and your thoughts on the game last Saturday.
I thought we played hard, competed for 60 minutes, and flew around, and it just wasn't. We ran out of time there at the end. We had a little bit of a slow start, got us behind again, and kind of working out of that hole. We kept playing, played hard, made plays. Tip your hat to them, and proud of the way we played. We just got to be a little better next time.
The offense came back in the fourth quarter, scoring 2 late touchdowns to cut the lead to 7. On each of those touchdowns, there was a crucial fourth down play to move the chains. What are your thoughts to seeing your offense execute when the stress is at a high level?
Well, I mean, I think when you get in a game like that and every play is critical, you got to be locked in and focused and trust the guy next to you, and you don't ever get in those plays unless the defense is giving you the ball back and, special teams doing their job. So, I mean, there were a lot of people that had to be doing a job in, critical late-minute situations for those drives to have been successful.
And quarterback Matt Lancaster threw for a record of 395 yards on a school record of 68 attempts. Was this in the game plan, or was this an in-game adjustment?
Well, I mean, he's capable of doing that. There's no question. We don't go into a game thinking we're going to throw it 68 times. You get behind early a little bit, so there's some adjustment that way. And then, you're down late, so you're into a little bit of a 2-minute hurry-up mode where you might be throwing it more than you thought you would going in. But, we're capable of winning, throwing it 68 times. We're capable of winning, running it 68 times. We just got to be a little better.
In the first half, Butler struggled with stopping Dartmouth on the third down. But that changed in the second half. What adjustments were made at halftime to achieve this?
Well, I mean, part of it is you start playing hard. Emotionally, units are picking up units, and you're playing a little harder and faster and playing with more passion and emotion. The other thing is going into it, it's their first game. I mean, they're offensively doing something different than we saw last year when we played them. So there is a little bit of a, figure out what their plan is and how they're going to attack you. And once we did that, we settled in with a pretty good scheme, kept playing harder and harder as the game went on. So naturally, we played better and better on defense.
And at one point in the game, you had 3 of 4 defensive backs out due to injury. And the backups held their own and filled their roles really well. Could you discuss the next man up philosophy within the program?
Well, I mean, I think that's the only way you're going to succeed. I mean, you go out every day. If you're only coaching the 11 guys that, quote unquote, starting, you're going to be in trouble. I mean, we play multiple guys at a variety of positions. It's a game where someone's going to get nicked up at some point, and the next guy has to be ready. So, we have a philosophy and a belief that we're going to coach them all like they're starters. And on the flip side of it, the player who is backing up has to prepare himself like a starter. And that's also a critical part. Is we have guys that might not get in a game that are preparing like they're starting and going to play 70 plays, because you never know. Something happens, all of a sudden I got to go in and play 70 plays, and I wasn't ready. I've let a lot of guys down. So it's a combination of both. It's coaching everybody and guys that might not be in a key role still preparing like they are.
So Coach Forrest, let's take a look at 2 offensive and 2 defensive highlights. So the first highlight is a touchdown to redshirt freshman Brendan Collins, cutting the lead to 14. How does it make you feel to see young players step up and make plays?
Well, I mean, he's done an outstanding job. Since the day he got here, he's been a football guy, one of those guys that works at it, And we got a lot of guys like him that just showed up. They learn the system. They practice every day. They perform their role. And it's not so much about how much I'm playing, but what I can do to affect the team in a positive way. And eventually the cream rises to the top, and you get your chance. And he's played well the last 2 weeks.
And our next highlight is a fumble recovery by sophomore defensive tackle Nick McAnally, which led to a Butler touchdown. How big of an emotional turning point was this late in the fourth quarter?
Well, I mean, we don't have a chance at that point because you're up against the clock if you don't get the ball back quickly. So, that was a huge play, a defensive stand that allowed us to get the ball back, and it all started with holding them to a field goal earlier in the half that kept the game within reach, and then we got that first touchdown that we just talked about, and this fumble led to another drive that got us to within one score.
And the next highlight is a fourth down catch by junior receiver J.T. Mesh, getting the ball to the 1-yard line to set up a rushing touchdown to Matt Lancaster on the next play. Talk about the playmaking abilities of Lancaster to throwing under pressure and the awareness that J.T. had to make sure that he got the first down.
Right. I mean, it's one of those, that's not the way you draw it up naturally. Matt's very capable of making plays when things break down. The wideouts do a good job of keeping the play alive and turning it into a scramble drill. And JT worked to the open area and was able to get a first down. And Matt did a nice job keeping the play alive and finding him.
And the last highlight is a tackle for loss by junior defensive back David Burke, which set Dartmouth to punt the ball and gave Butler the opportunity to score in the end. How crucial was this for the defense to get the stop and give the ball back to offense for one last shot to score?
At that point, we're out of timeouts. So, first down, the game's over. And it seemed like there in the fourth quarter, every play we had to make, we made. And, David does a nice job here. And, the nice thing is you got 11 guys, playing together there that allow that to happen. And if that doesn't happen, game's over. And if you look back through that fourth quarter, there's a lot of times that if we didn't make this play or that play, the game was probably over earlier, and we kept making plays. What we got to do is extend that into the third, second, and first quarter. We got to start faster, and we got to play a more complete game so it doesn't come down to the end where you run out of time.
Well, thank you, Coach, for your input. This week, we are doing something called Get to Know Your Bulldogs. It's where we bring in one of the team members and talk about their experiences on the Butler football team. Today, I have offensive lineman Nestor Perez. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
So first of all, how long have you been playing football?
I've been playing football since I was 8 years old. My dad signed me up for football when we lived in Quantico, Virginia, and I've been playing ever since.
And I understand that you're from Fishers, Indiana, and attended Hamilton Southeastern High School. How long have you lived in Indiana?
I've lived in Indiana. I actually moved to Indiana at the end of my freshman year of high school, so counting Butler, 4.5 years.
And you were born in Rota, Spain.
Yes.
And your dad is a retired Marine Corps. So should I anticipate that you've traveled the world?
Yes, I was actually born in Rota, Spain, and from there we've just moved all over the world. And I think it's been a unique experience just to get to travel and visit, and it's a part of my life that I love.
And where have you lived?
After Spain, I've lived in California, Romania, Bolivia, Virginia, and I moved to Indiana from Okinawa, Japan.
So is English your primary language?
It is now, but my first language was actually Spanish. After I moved from Spain to California, though, my parents kind of stopped talking to me in Spanish, and I kind of forgot it. I can understand Spanish a lot better than I can speak it now.
So from traveling all around the world, what brought you to Butler?
You know what? Well, after high school, I knew I wanted to play college football after high school, and when the recruiting process happened, I just visited a few different schools, and I came to visit Butler. And originally, Butler was just there, I guess. But once I visited, I loved it. Loved the coaching staff. I loved everything about it. And a few weeks later, I committed to come play here.
So how is living in the United States different from living in places like Spain, Romania?
From what I remember, I was a little younger there, but there's a lot more people here. I remember the schools that I attended. Everyone moved every 2 to 3 years, and it was kind of our lifestyle. That's all I knew. That's what I thought was normal. And then coming here, people lived in the same place their whole life, so it was interesting to compare.
And I understand that you've been playing football for a few years, but back in the countries when you lived in Spain and Romania, was football popular to play?
No, the sports out there were soccer. So the first sport I ever played was actually soccer, and then from baseball. I didn't start playing football until I was 8 years old in Virginia. Like I said, my dad signed me up, and I continued to play soccer and football all the way up to 8th grade, and then I just stuck with soccer and football and track.
So do you get to play soccer for fun while you're still in school and football? I'm sure there's not a lot of time.
Yeah, in college I haven't really played soccer much. If I on breaks go back home and kick a ball around with my friends or my little cousin. He loves soccer, so I play with him and try to help him out.
And what's your favorite part about being on the Butler football team?
My favorite part is probably just getting to play college football. It's not something that everyone gets to do. I know a lot of my friends back home from the football team. They're just normal students now, and it's kind of something special just to be able to play.
Well, Nestor, thank you so much for coming in the studio today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Next up, the Jacksonville preview. So, playing Jacksonville next week. Last year, this game was a very emotional help to decide a PFL championship, with the Dogs coming out on top in a 4th-and-goal quarterback sneak to win the game. Knowing this, how do you think each team will approach the game?
Well, I mean, speaking from our side of it, I mean, we better have a week of preparation like none other. You know, they're at home, we're on the road, travel, you know, the emotions of, you know, last year. I mean, we just got to go back and understand what gets done on Monday is critical to Saturday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and have a great week and take care of what we control and prepare ourselves to do the things a little better than we've done so far. We need to start better. You know, we got to play faster and harder and longer and get some breaks, you know, along the way. And, you know, so it's, you know, the score is going to take care of itself. It's what we do this week preparing that's going to be key.
And Jacksonville has put up some basketball scores on opponents in the last 2 games, scoring 69 points on the PFL team Morehead State and the first-year program Warner. How does the defense expect to stop this high-powered offense?
Well, I mean, I think Butler has to stop their high-powered offense. We got to play together and play complementary football. Special teams has to be a factor in the game. We have to create field position and make them play on a long field. The offense has to control the football and finish with points, and the defense has to do their job. But to think you keep those kind of numbers under control by just playing defense is probably not the way to look at it. We have to play a full team game.
And Jacksonville defense has always been a very athletic group. They have 2 returning first-team All-PFL players, and one of them leading the league in sacks last year. Knowing this, what does the offense need to do to continue to move the ball?
Well, they're going to make it hard on you to move the ball. There's no question. We got to prepare well and have a plan and practice fast and as best as we can, you know, simulate the looks we're going to get. But the thing that they do a great job of is they limit your opportunities, and so we have to be very opportunistic. When we get opportunities to score, we got to score. We got to score with touchdowns, not field goals, and we got to do a good job on 3rd down opportunities, continuing to move the chains and stay on the field. So, you know, the preparation's key, and there's going to be a handful of 3rd downs that we got to make, and when you get a chance to score, you got to score. You know, it's just they make it real hard on you.
Well, Coach Force, thank you so much for your time and for coming into the studio today.
Appreciate being here.
And thank you for watching Inside Butler Football. I'm JoJo Gentry. Have a great week, Bulldog fans.